there's no question, Mike Rolison and the RPG team, they've dominated X30 Senior since the new engine packages come out. And it's to the point where, Norberg only got back in that position because the guys were just coming in and trying to, shuffle him back because they knew how fast he was at any means, including, moving them out of the way. Hayden Jones, who won the main event on Sunday, who was your driver back in 2020 into 21, Nick, he got knocked off the racetrack in turn 4, right in front of the scale corner, which is typically not a corner that you make passes in. Got knocked off, drove back, and was so fast, still won the race. And there's, without question, a lot of animosity in the paddock area towards the team just because they've won past Tech. Nick, you've seen that in racing. Can you describe, at least to some of the viewers, right, what it would be like to be in that team, or especially in Mike Rollison's shoes, since you yourself are a team owner, when you win that much and when you have that many people just frustrated at you, what that's like and how that is, from dealing with customers, trying to get people to come to you just to tell them, hey, like, you might get wrecked because you're with us because we are so fast, because that's what's happening to some of their clients nowadays.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting situation. Mike's done a really good job of, creating like just a super team, and like you say, they passed Tech every week. They got the financials, right, to have the R&D work. They got all the right people, they've done a good job at creating and that's one of the tough things, right? Whenever you win, people, they automatically assume you're cheating. So I think in the X30 stuff, it's created like, really interesting dynamic, right? Because several of the top teams, right, they don't think the RPG is cheating, right? So you got RPG that's running up front, and then you got the next 3 or 4 teams that are cheating, trying to keep up with them, right? Maybe, I don't know. I don't think it's all necessarily their equipment or whatever, right? They got a lot of good drivers. They got a lot of good mechanics, great motors. They've kind of got the, market corner on the motor deal for the X30 stuff. And, they've created a product that's tough to beat.
And Jamie, over to you, right? I can think back of different stints over the last few years. It's not just X30, but in any class, there's teams that kind of get a big jump. Going most recently that I can think of, 2016 USPKS, you guys with Brandon Lemke on a Merlin chassis. He was super dominant, super fast everywhere he went, So you guys, would you say you were in a similar position at all, where winning as much as Lemke did, and you've had good drivers as well, Kyle Kalish, Alex Bertignoli, and then down in Cadet and Junior, where, you've been in that, where you're having like animosity to the team, to the brand, just because you win so much?
Yeah, I mean, there's always that situation, nobody, when it's consistent, people get frustrated. A lot of times they just can't believe that, oh, this person's just winning all the time. And we never really operated a team just like a hardcore race team. And again, props to Mike and Nick's program over the years, and all these other groups that are their focal point of their business model is a race team, right? And they pour a lot into it and they get some exceptional results in that. But again, competitors don't want to believe that they can just be getting beat like that. I mean, that's the big thing you get over the years, like this guy's cheating or that guy's cheating or this whole team is. In the Lemke situation, I mean, they kind of did their own thing. I mean, we were there for product support, right? And, he had his coach, he had his mechanic or that, and his dad did a lot of work, real family environment. He had his own engine program. We helped with the Kart as needed, but they did a lot of it on their own. And, it would get frustrating to a point because you watch them do all this on their own, and then they're kind of at the other end of the rest of the field, who's just, wanting to figure out why they're doing it, and they can't possibly be doing it legally. And even to the point where it's like, well, that group has to be cheating because we're cheating and they're beating us, and it's kind of like, right. That's not the right approach. I think Nick hit on it. Like, people start cheating to try and keep up. But I mean, you kind of, it's difficult because it's not just Rollison's deal is really cool and interesting because the whole team is having success out of it. And a lot of times over the years, it's been focused on just, individual drivers. So I think that's where it gets a little bit dicey, because when it's just one driver, you could easily say then, oh, well, the team's a good group of people, but that guy is doing something. I look at it as going, well, that, Brandon is special, right? And the things he does in the Kart are special. And there's a lot of people like that. But when you look at the amount of people showing up at these races, there's only a handful of them that can do what some of these guys have done. And jealousy is it. I mean, racing is ego, right? And that's it's something you just deal with. years later, for like me, you look at these other programs and you look at their success, and it's kind of like there's a lot of, I'll look at some of them with envy. I look at some of them just kind of with awe with what they're doing and how they're handling it. And, most of the people behind these programs are pretty good, decent, respectable guys. And, you just kind of take your hats off for a while, and they've done it. They've pieced together all the components or all the pillars, whatever, the engine program's running at full tilt. They've got the karts dialed. They're on a kart that's, got a big sweet spot or whatever. And they got a driver that is just doing that much more with all those things handed to them. So
I appreciate that. That's insight I don't think a lot of people get, and especially talking on the part of how the whole team's doing good versus, just one guy, right? Like that's where their program, like you said, is in awe. So from a promoter standpoint, I don't know. I mean, Nick, you were in the NASCAR game for so long. You've only recently been on your own. Race Series Tech, they seem to kind of, when this stuff gets out of hand, they move the goalpost, right? That's been the whole kind of idea, partially with the next-gen cars. They wanted to level the playing field a bit. And that's on a much bigger scale than this. But at this point, we're spec racing. I mean, I don't know. Where you guys ran at the end of the year, and where we're at now, is the engine the problem, or is it just a matter of these guys are doing such a good job that someone else is going to have to step up? What do you think?
I think people discredit hard work, right? Hard work and effort is what makes winners and champions. So it's easier to discredit than work harder.